Story comes to us from denver.cbslocal.com. CBS 4 has learned that the president of the Aurora Police Association, Officer Doug Wilkinson, has been placed on administrative leave after he sent out an email last week to 240 members calling diversity provisions in a consent decree between Aurora and the Colorado Attorney General sexist and racist.
The officer's email is in question.
Well, what's interesting about this email, too, Jim, is that it was other officers in the department who were offended by this. They complained to Human Resources, which led to the suspension of the Aurora Police Association president, Doug Wilkinson. He coarsely criticized the department's agreement with the state to diversify the department. In the email, he suggested to match the diversity of the community, we could make sure to hire 10% illegal aliens, 50% weed smokers, 10% crackheads, and a few child molesters and murderers to round it out, so we can make the department look like the community.
So he's basically saying the community of Aurora are illegal aliens, weed smokers, crackheads, child molesters, and murderers. That's what he's saying about. That's how your Aurora Police Union president looks at the community of Aurora, Colorado. And we wonder why Aurora Police Department has so many problems. Well, their union president sees you all as a bunch of felons and criminals.
He said the decree indicates that they want to replace as many of the department's white males as possible with as many women and minorities as possible. It's as simple as that, wrote Wilkinson. To do that, they're going to hire and promote non-whites and non-males wherever they can. Wilkinson said the only criteria for hiring and promotions should be intelligence, personal ethics, and courage. We posted that entire email on our website, cbsdenver.com. Chief Vanessa Wilson put Officer Wilkinson on paid leave the day after he sent that email, and an HR investigation is now underway. The Aurora Police Association represents about a third of Aurora's officers and is not the department's recognized bargaining unit.
Lieutenant Chris Amsler told CBS 4, quote, "We have seen the letter. Chief Wilson is very concerned about the allegations that have been brought forth by several concerned and courageous employees. Due to the sensitive nature of this ongoing investigation, we cannot discuss this case further. We would like to remind the media and the community that the Aurora Police Association does not speak for the Aurora Police Department, nor are they the recognized bargaining unit with the city of Aurora. They're only the police department." Now, Wilkinson's email was prompted by an agreement announced on November 16, setting up reforms for the Aurora Police and Fire Departments. The consent decree followed a lengthy state investigation that found a pattern of racist policing and excessive use of force. We're talking about Aurora Police Department. So the consent decree and the investigation are correct according to the news editorials I've done on Aurora Police Department. We've seen time and time again Aurora police officers using excessive force and possibly, using racial profiling. Now, the agreement, which is expected to run for about 5 years, calls for updated hiring practices so the police and fire departments better reflect the city's racial makeup. Wilkinson's email blasted the agreement, but especially provisions for diversity in hiring and promotions within the police department.
I did talk to Wilkinson at length today. He told me that he was just trying to speak honestly and bluntly in this email, but maybe a little too blunt for some people.
And it goes down. I'll put a link to it in the description box. It's rather lengthy. But, the basic gist here is this, it's always the union police president. Look at NYPD. Look at Chicago PD. Police union president. Look at, is that Dallas, Texas, right? Is that, or Houston? Garibaldi, Joey. Look at that guy, union president. It's always a union president. I couldn't even get his name right. Gary Moldy. But it's always union president, right? That comes forward and says, look, man, we're not being treated fairly. What we're really talking about here is how these union presidents always come forward and start crying when we want to reform the police department. We want to say we need better officers on the street. We need officers that are going to follow policy. We need officers that aren't going to break civil rights, violate civil rights. We need officers that aren't going to break the law. And these union presidents start crying, picking on me. Why are you blaming me all the time? Because you all are the ones doing it. Vanessa, good job. Leave with pay. Let's do leave without pay. Let's just kick this guy to the curb. Then we'll know you're a good police chief.